Welcome back to a brand new coffee tech break with Jan. Good to see you back on my channel again. I think I got another great video for you lined up because I want to take you through version 3.14. So I think a great update, a lot of new features and functions, but we're going to take you through it. Now, before we get started, let me take you a little bit through the bases. Now, the 3.14 is for the Studio X30, X50, X70 and the G7500 for these devices. What is important with every new release, we ask all the different video providers, application providers for all their updates, and we try to embed them. Now, what I think is really nice in this update is this is the final step before we're gonna move the operating system, which is now based on Android 8, and we're gonna move it to Android 10. And through the end user experience will change nothing. It's just a matter of getting the operating system up to date. So it is all security compliant with the latest and greatest. As usual, I'm gonna take you through it on my computer and hopefully you're gonna enjoy it. If you got questions, comments, etc., just put them underneath in the email, but also check out. I also put a lot of reference there in the comments, so you got them available. I think that is important, like the Zoom release notes, the Teams release notes, some hands-on, some workshops, everything that I can find, I put them underneath those videos. So if you need some more reference, just check out over there. It's time to get started. Again, hopefully you enjoyed it, and of course, if you like it, I would say subscribe to my channel, because more videos are coming up very soon for StudioX and G7500, but for now, we're gonna take it through the 3.14. Let's get started. Don't forget to take a cup of coffee in between, which is very important, and we're gonna take you through all the highlights of 3.14. As I said, we'll always ask the different video providers for their new applications, but it could be at some point that, for example, with Teams or with Zoom, that a newer version has just come out, but you can always upgrade them. I just try to tell that with every new release, you can always upgrade specific applications on the StudioX. So I think that is really, really powerful. Alright, the first thing where we always start with is the upgrade and downgrade. Just trying to give you some hands-on when you just got started with those devices. Well, if you got a couple of StudioX devices or G7500, you can always connect to those devices using the web management. So out of the box, it's the 6 digits of the serial number. So the username is admin and the password are the last 6 serial numbers. Then you need to change that, of course, but in case you're gonna factory reset, it's gonna be that 6 digits. So the 3.14 is live now. So if you're going into your web interface, you should be able to see that it's prompting now for the 3.14. What I think is really important, and I mentioned that through every release, is automatic updates. And the question if you want to do that, because that will happen, as you can see here, in the middle of the night. And if you arrive in the morning, it could be that some rooms are not functional, because maybe it's got a specific environment, or you got a specific policies, etc. So I always recommend to do that controlled. And so make sure you do 1 or 2 rooms, test them out with the users 1 or 2 weeks, and then you upgrade the rest of your rooms. I think this is a really important one. And don't forget that in the next release, we're probably gonna upgrade to Android 10. And this is quite a big update. So again, I would recommend to turn off that automatic update so you can, in your environment, and have that all under control. Make sure you first again do 1 or 2 rooms, test it in your environment with Zoom, with Teams. Don't forget, if you're gonna move from Android 8 to Android 10, you might want to change your Intune policies, etc. Those are all things you gotta think of and prepare. So don't forget that. I would say just turn it off for now. And make sure you first test that out in some rooms before you upgrade all your devices. Now, what's also being updated there is of course the TC8. So make sure that these devices are in sync with each other. I think this is really critical. I still see so much when I'm visiting customers that the TC8 is a different version than the StudioX, and that could give some issues when connecting those devices together. So make sure that these devices are all in sync. The next upgrade possibility is when you're gonna do on site, like the installation guy, or you're gonna do a demo. So you can always take the latest software with you, bring that on your device, plug it in, and it will prompt you to upgrade. And this will upgrade both StudioX and the TC8. It's just a matter of downloading the software from the Poly support website. You unpack it, so you get the whole directory structure on your USB stick, and then you're able to do that upgrade very, very easily. Another thing, Poly Lens. I think this is a really, really nice one. So Poly Lens is the centralized management from Poly for all your devices, speakerphones, headsets, rooms, phones, and all the devices are in there, and it's getting more features every day. So if you're gonna have those devices in Lens, and it's a certain part is free of charge. If you want to do alert and monitoring, we got Poly Plus service around it, which is also very interesting. So if your device is not working, etc. But to get started very quickly, that is a possibility. It's free of charge to just use it. What is important? Also, Poly Lens will have the 3.14 update available, but turn off that automatic update. I would really recommend it. Again, just test it out, make a group policy. As you can see right here, you can define a group, put 1 or 2 StudioX devices in there, and then it can upgrade. And then you can first test that out with your users, try that out with your backend environment, etc. And so keep that always in mind. Now, if something is failing, you can always go back. I think that is really powerful with Poly Lens, and we got that hooked up. So you can always go back to a previous version, test that out. If that is working with a newer version, it doesn't work, you're able to check that in the logging, etc. But you got always a way to get your environment back up and running again. The other upgrades are through the application providers. Think of Teams, through Teams Admin Center. And again, same thing, upgrade both the StudioX device and the TC8. Really important. Similar for Zoom device management. So you can upgrade specific application through those video providers. I think really, really nice. All right, what is in that 3.14? This is always good to see. So we got also the TC8 software controller in there. Of course, the 3.14, we got the IP mic adapter, it's 301. We got the IP microphone, 3.0, and I think nothing changed there. We got the Cube, 131. We got the E70 camera, and this is the 162. So make sure you upgrade. So push that out to your devices and make sure you upgrade, for example, the E70 through the G7500 to that 162. So it's a maintenance release, so it's always important maintenance releases with the interoperability with your devices. And I got some questions about the E70 camera inside the X70. And of course, you also need to upgrade that, but just review that in the web interface, and there you should be able to see that it's running at 162. And otherwise, you can always click that update button in the web UI specifically for the camera inside the X70 to make sure it's up to date. Really important, really important. There's always some maintenance software and compatibility software to bring all the devices up to date. Again, for the X50, X30 and the TC8, all the devices need to be in sync. E70. So that 162, how are you going to update that? Well, there's another possibility that your E70 is connected to an MTR Windows. That is, of course, also a possibility. That is connected through a USB cable. So how is it updated? First off, through Windows Update Service. The E70 is a Teams certified camera. So after approximately 30 days, it should happen. It should push out that 162 update to that camera. In any other case, when there is a maintenance release like this, the 162, it makes sense to push it out through Poly Lens app. So you just connect the E70 camera, for example, to your laptop, and you're able to push that out. Or you can use the administration UI of the MTR and just make sure you push it. All right, let me show you quickly the Poly Lens application and the E70 that is prompting for that update. All right, here you go. And of course, don't forget to take your cup of coffee in between. Here we are on the Windows desktop. So if you got Poly Lens installed and you just start the Poly Lens app, as you can see, we got an E70 here. It's not connected at the moment, so make sure I connect the device. All right. So as you can see, as soon as you connect it, it will prompt you automatically for that update button. And just get a cup of coffee, and because it could take some time, and pushing out that latest release. All right, that was concerning the E70 and how to update that. Also, if you got it connected to an MTR Windows. The next application, and I always try to show it because I think it's a really powerful availability, is a free application, and that's the Camera Control app. So when you got a Poly camera connected, you have a breakout button right here. It's for a room controller, but we use it for camera control. So here you break out to a camera control application, and there you can just select as an end user speaker track, group track, or the new people track. And what is people track? People track, make sure that you can up to 6 participants, get them into the meeting in a sort of meeting equality, so everybody who's sitting right here will be equally in the meeting available. I think really powerful, which is available right now if you install your E70 to that latest version. Now, what is also new is the R30 and the Studio USB also have the people tracking available now. I think really nice. So you just need to update both of these devices to version 2.1 and make sure you do that, and you should be able to get that people tracking available. Now let me show you quickly that camera control application. So I did an extensive video earlier on the installation of that camera control app. So if you want to review that, I will put a link right there. Camera control app is really handy. And so as a user, you can easily access that whatever you want and to change some of those settings. So where can you find it? So on the left side, right here, you can find that Windows MTR touch panel interface. And on the right side, you got a screen. You can see right here, but that is not important at the moment. And so here on the right lower side, you will find that camera control function. So if I click on that as a user, and here you go. Now you got full camera control functionality. So you can change all the tracking techniques and the director AI techniques, but you can also turn off tracking if you don't need that, or you want to manually PTZ through a whiteboard or something. You can create some presets, etc. Really easy. Here you can turn it on again. You can switch if you want to between different cameras. And so if you got multiple cameras connected, you can also change that right here. And then you get the same tracking options which are available for that specific camera as a user to change that. During a call, same thing. So that's another location where you got this camera control functionality. So in case you are in a meeting, what you will see here under the 3 dots, you got another option. It says here a room control. And so even during the meeting, you can click on that and let's say you don't want people track, but you want to change to speaker track, so you can do that during the meeting, as you see right here. And if you don't touch it, it will also automatically switch back to the MTR interface. But otherwise, and you just click on the top left and you can switch back to this interface right now. So just a quick overview. Really like it. Camera control, it gives also for the user some more options to change during the room and change the experience, etc., which is much appreciated. All right, let's continue because we got a lot of great stuff out there. Also, the audio service software, don't forget that. So in case you're using speaker track functionality, there is audio service software available which you run on the MTR Windows. And that's specifically if you're going to use it with speaker tracking. So let's say you are a speaker in that room, you got a camera, the E70, you got that maybe against the ceiling, etc., because it got that automatic gyro, as you can just reverse mount that against the ceiling. Microphones are picking up that speaker. That is fine, but in case you got those extra devices in that room, like from Shure or QSC or Biamp or a Sync or Trio, etc., you got extra audio in that room, and that could interfere with the microphones here built into the E70. And so you want to make sure you filter out, and that is what that audio service will do. It will feed back that far end audio back to the camera, that it doesn't listen to that audio, doesn't pick that up. So the whole thing works. So if you want to do speaker tracking with E70, you just put it in the room, connect it to the MTR, speaker tracking should work, even if you got speakers there. But of course, this will create a much more optimized experience because it's far better able to locate the specific speaker in the room. All right, what's next? So we have in the 3.14, we got the presets now correctly working. And I think this was a huge one. A lot of customers were asking this. And so after reboot, it will always use the preset 1 as the home preset. And this is working now for G7500 with HDCI cameras, but it's also working now for presets for multiple cameras connected. So multiple USB cameras connected, for example, to the G7500, that is also now officially supported. So if you already played around with this in the past, recommend to probably reconfigure that to make sure that that is working correctly now. How do you configure that preset 1? So you go here to that camera control function now, the TC8. You set there the preset 1, and that should make sure that even after reboot, it always come back in that home preset. I think a really nice one. So make sure you set that preset 1. If you got camera tracking enabled, good to know, then of course the camera tracking will define the home view of the camera. So if you got it to grouper track, it will specifically zoom out to the group. If you set it to speaker track, of course it will go to that specific speaker. But I think that should talk for itself. Next, a really important one is the preparation for Android 10. So as you know, we're running 8.0, 8.1 on the different devices, the X series, the TC8, etc. Now, what is important? Google is ending the security updates for the devices on 8.0. So we need to make sure that the underlying operating system is up to date. There's nothing changing for the end user experience. That is good to know. Applications are all stay as it is, and also the end user experience will all stay as it is. It's just the underlying operating system, and we're gonna make sure that that is upgraded to the Android 10. So why Android 10? That seems to be the most stable one at the moment, looking at appliances. And so that is, I think, important. It's not Android 10 like we got on the phone, because there we are on Android 13 or 14, but that is not the same. This is purely an appliance-based Android version with everything stripped out and only running the specific applications that are needed. Now, what is important, we're going to upgrade that, we're going to test all the applications, and so it's a big project, but this is why I also mentioned it when you're gonna do the upgrade yourself. Make sure you're just gonna first do 1 or 2 rooms and test it out. Very important before you're gonna do all of the rooms. So as I mentioned in earlier, the upgrade is going to be available somewhere around the end of November or earlier. And then, as I said, yeah, just be that kind of soft upgrade, test that out 1 or 2 weeks. So make sure that all the things are running. Change your Intune environment. That's important because you're going to move from Android 8.x and you're going to move to Android 10. So you're going to make sure you upgrade your policies in there, that your Teams room are compliant. But I just wanted to make you aware so you can prepare your environment for that. But of course, I will keep you updated. So make sure you subscribe to my channel. As soon as more information is available on this, I will blast that out on my channel, and so you are up to date. All right, specifically on the applications. So what is available and new in the 3.14 release? So first off, the MTR on Android. Now, this is, I think, good news. We have embedded the latest Teams app, the 0606, inside the 3.14. So if you are using StudioX today with the MTR and Android application, you just gotta make sure you are on the 3.14 release. I think this is really nice. The 2B is embedded in there. Do that upgrade, not only for your StudioX, but also for the TC8. Don't want to stress that out. It's super, super important. Meanwhile, it could be that Microsoft is coming with a new update. No problem. You can always push that out in between. And make sure you update that again to both StudioX and the TC8, the touch control. Now, what is new in the 2B? Let me take you through it. So first off, maintenance updates. So I think this is why it's always important, specifically with those applications, to stay up to date. So there's maintenance in there. Earlier, they already put in that front row, phase 1, and so you don't have any chat or transcripting or etc. on the sides. It's just very straightforward presentation in the middle, and you got the participants underneath. Just basic front row layout. WebEx direct guest join. This is also in there. So I did a video earlier on that, so you can always review that. That was available in the 3.13. Good to know. And direct guest join WebEx. I really like this interoperability, and so people can always join those third-party meetings if needed. The basic and pro licensing is introduced there in the 0606. So be aware of that. You still got some time to prepare yourself. But just check that out. There's a lot of videos on that and information also from the Microsoft side. I'll put some links also in the comments, which you can check. Which I think is also a nice one is we got fit to frame. So now the MTR on Android, and this was already available with the MTR on Windows, is you got it excluded from cropping. So we know that when you use cropping, the room is usually not correctly visible, and you want to set it fit to frame, so the whole room is available. But the combination with using those tracking options inside the camera and doing then that cropping would miss out usually some information in the room. So now we got it excluded from cropping. So you always got that full view, and then the camera can take care of the tracking how it is with group track, speaker track, etc. So it's a really nice one to use, and I know a lot of users will appreciate that. Direct guest join WebEx. Just a quick tip. So what do you need to do? You just schedule your WebEx invitation. But what I always hear a lot is that the invitation is not visible on screen. So make sure that you got your invitation here inside your location field. That is where the MTR on Android will read the access, the URL, because it makes a sort of WebRTC client. It starts a sort of WebRTC client, so it's a browser-based access guest video client, and it's reading the location fields. So it's not possible to just copy an invitation inside the body and send it out. No, it's really, you need to make sure you got that URL in there. And that's important. Now, some other tips and tricks for the calendaring processing. If you got external users walking regularly in those meeting rooms, make sure you process external meeting messages, because otherwise the invite will not be visible in the meeting room. So set that to true, and then other companies, when they walk in, they got different domains, they got the ability now to forward an invitation, and the room is then able to join. And of course, the delete comments and the delete subject, you want to put those to false, so all the information is available to show you that invitation. Just some quick tips and tricks, because I know I see a lot in the questions about those things, and I just wanted to stress them out as much as possible. On the Zoom side, there's also a lot of innovation happening. So what is inside 3.14 release? That's, I think, important. We got the 5.11 release. There are newer versions available already, but that is no problem. So if you already upgraded to that newer release, so there is a 5.12 release already, no problem. You can always upgrade to that 3.14 release, and it will keep that 5.12 on the device. And so it's no issue. It will not downgrade the APK, etc. As you can see, there could be always newer versions in Zoom device management, as you see right here. So if there's a 5.12, just push it out and you're able to use that. Very flexible. And again, push that out to your StudioX and the TCA. It's the same thing. What is in the 5.12 release? A lot of nice features. So we already had the dark theme, so now you can put your TC8 in the dark theme mode. The content has been raised, the quality, the resolution. So you got now 1080p 30 content support. Really nice, specifically for the appliances. You can use now the HDMI input as a digital signage source. So in the past you had to configure and upload content into the Zoom device management portal. So now you can just hook up a very small device on the HDMI input and use that as a digital signage source. Really nice. Standalone whiteboarding for touch. So probably I will do an update soon on all those new features, because there's a lot of things happening on the Zoom side. I will put a link in the release notes, in the comments where you can find the release notes. As you can see right here, there's a lot of things going on. The Zoom application keeps on innovating with new features. So really good to see. What do we have more? Well, we got an update on the Tencent client. And we already had an update there, so you were able to attach 2 standard monitors, or one monitor and one touchscreen. You're able to attach 2 TC8 devices. You're able to attach the Eagle Eye 4 camera, 1 Eagle microphone. So now they added some new functionality in this new release, which is embedded in the 3.14. So you got a simplified account activation process, always very good. And so that makes it for the user life a lot easier to get started. We got camera control, auto framing and speaker framing available now. We got here add a button to start or stop content share. Very nice. And we got a sort of digital signage when the room is not in use. And so there's some small updates in there. As you can see, there's always something going on with the different applications. One thing that I think is really good to know is 3.14 is the last release that will have the Starleaf app. So I've done several videos on Starleaf. I really appreciated the application, the whole usability, the stability, etc. But it's going to remove. The whole Starleaf platform is going to shut down. So it will be removed after the 3.14 release. So we're gonna make space there, or we're gonna have additional space available. And of course, new video applications will come. So if you got an idea which one that could be, Let me know in the comments. I'm very interested to see if people know which video providers will be added. There's a lot of interesting times and platform moves, etc. So I will keep you up to date right here. Now again, update applications. So in the release notes you can find all the versions that are attached with the 3.14, also with the Zoom application, with the Tencent application. Always try to point you to those release notes. As you can see right here, quick overview which video application is running on which device. Everything is available in those release notes. And that's it. 3.14. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And I would say just subscribe to my channel. Of course, I will come back to you with tips and tricks how to upgrade best your environment to that latest version and to Android 10 later on. Again, hopefully you enjoyed it and looking forward to see you back in the next video.